Okay, so last part about lines is the standard form. So what's the standard form? AX, A times X plus B times Y equals C. That's called the standard form. This might be unfamiliar to some of you. And one question is why do we care about the standard form of a line if we have these other useful forms? Well, actually it comes up a lot in business. So suppose we're talking about revenues, right? Suppose that I'm running a donut shop. I like donuts. I wish there was a donut shop in iSelf, by the way. I pushed for Dunkin' Donuts, but no luck. So suppose we sell 12 donuts it's a small donut shop, at $1.50 a donut. And we sell 24 cups of coffee at $2 a cup. How much do you make? Well, you make how much each one sells for, $1.50, times how many you sell, 12. So this is how much, this product is how much you make on donuts. How much do you make on coffee? Well, how much each one goes for, that's $2, times how many you sell, that's 24. So 12 times 150 is $18, plus 24 times $2 a cup is 48. So we're clearing $66. Well, suppose the next day we get a little more customers coming in, and we actually sell, what do I have here? 20 donuts and 30 coffees. So 20 donuts at the same price and 30 cups of coffee. So how much do I make now? What is my revenue? How much money do I have coming into my little donut store? Well, $1.50, that's how much each donut costs, times the 20 donuts that I sell, plus I'm selling coffee at $2 a cup, and I'm selling 30 of them. So how much do I make? Well, 20 times 150 is $30, and 30 coffees at $2 each, that's $60. So I make $90. Okay, in general, right, the only thing that changed between these two examples was how many of each thing I was selling. Right? We went from 12 to 20, 12 to 20, we went from 24 to 30, 24 to 30, and that is reflected in my revenue. So in general, if I'm selling X donuts and Y cups of coffee, how much do I make? Well, 1.50 times X, $1.50 a donut, times X, which is the number of donuts, plus $2 a cup, times Y, that's how many cups I sell. How much is that? Well, it depends on how much you sell, but that's what your revenue is. And this is AX plus BY. So AX plus BY comes up a lot when you're dealing with revenue, when you're dealing with costs, anything where each unit you're selling affects your costs or affects your revenues. Right? A is the per unit cost or the per unit revenue. B is the per unit cost or the per unit revenue. The B is here is for coffee and the A is for donuts. Okay, so X plus BY, standard form of lines, shows up a lot in a lot of business applications. And it's one of the things we need to know about. So, when we're dealing with these things, let's take an example. Suppose we have a line in standard form, 9x plus 3y equals 12. Right? There's a line in standard form. We want to know the usual things. We want to know x-intercept, y-intercept, slope. Interesting, we don't know the slope exactly from this. So how do we get the slope out of that? And graph it. Well, the x-intercept and the y-intercept, if your equation is already in standard form, are usually the easiest things to solve. How do we solve the x-intercepts? We've done this a bunch of times. Set y equal to 0, solve for x. So here, if we set y equal to 0, right, set this term equal to 0, what's left? Well, 9x equals 12. Or x equals 12 over 9. You can factor 3 out of both of these, right, and cancel it out. So x is 4/3. There's my x-intercept. What's the y-intercept? Well, we don't know that either at this point, but it's easy to do. Y-intercept, same deal as the x-intercepts, except now you set x equal to 0. and solve for y. Right? So we go back up to this equation. We set this term equal to 0, the 9x, and we're just left with 3y equals 12. So y equals 12 over 3, which is 4. There's my y-intercept. Well, now we're cooking. We've got an x-intercept, we've got a y-intercept. We can start graphing. So my y-intercept is at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my y-intercept. My x-intercept is 4/3. That's 1 plus 1/3, so it's just in there somewhere. And we'll say this is 4 over 3. And so there's my y-intercept and my x-intercept. And we can graph the line, because now we've got 2 points on a line. So the x-intercept and the y-intercept are both points on a line, and that's very useful, because if I have 2 points on a line, it means I can find the slope. Well, what are the 2 points on the line? Here's x, here's y. The y-intercept has x coordinate 0 and y coordinate 4. The x-intercept has y coordinate 0 because it's on the x-axis, and x coordinate 4 over 3. So slope is difference in y, 4 minus 0, over difference in x, 0 minus 4/3. Keep the same order, this row minus this row over this row minus this row. 4 divided by minus 4 over 3. And fortunately we know how to divide by fractions, multiply by the reciprocal. So it's 4 times minus 3/4. And the 4's cancel out, and we're left with minus 3. So my slope is minus 3. Great. So the slope-intercept form of the line, we know the slope is minus 3, and we know that the y-intercept is 4. So y equals minus 3x plus 4. That's in another equation of the line. We can get to this by solving the standard form. So if we take 9x plus 3y equals 12, and we solve it for y, we should get this form up here. So what do? Get the y by itself. So we'll subtract a 9x from both sides. 3y equals 12 minus 9x. And then we'll divide both sides by 3. So y is 12 minus 9x over 3. Of course, we can't cancel at this point because there's a minus sign. You can only cancel when everything is multiplied together. But 12 is divisible by 3, 9 is divisible by 3, so we can factor out a 3. And now I can cancel, and I get 4 minus 3x, which is the same thing. So y equals 4 minus 3x, y equals minus 3x plus 4. That's the slope-intercept form. We can see that slope is minus 3 and the y-intercept is 4. Okay, so if you have something in slope in standard form, that's this, really, if you want to graph it, the easiest thing to do is take the x-intercept, take the y-intercept, and graph it. And then once you have those two, it's actually pretty easy to find the slope of the line, because they're just these 2 points. Okay, so that's pretty much everything about lines, which is not everything in Chapter 1, but let me do a little summary here. So, what do we have about lines? 3 equations. Y equals mx plus b, that's my slope-intercept form. Y minus y0 equals mx minus x0, point slope form. And ax plus by equals c, that's the standard form. I can solve these two to get that. Once I turn one of these two into that, that tells me what the slope is and tells me what the y-intercept is. Given 2 points on a line, x0, y0, and x1, y1, we can always find the slope. And slope is usually called m, and so that's y1 minus y0 over x1 minus x0. And once you know a slope and a point, you can get the equation, use the point slope form. Right. What else do we need to know about lines? X-intercept, set y equal to 0, solve for x. And the y-intercept, set x equal to 0, solve for y. That's particularly useful finding the x-intercepts and y-intercepts if you have the standard form. And finally, if you're graphing a line, there's not a whole lot of points of interest. Right, let me give myself a little more space here. If you're graphing a line, this is my y-intercept up here. And that's my x-intercept. And the slope is rise over run, change in y, how far up and down you're going, right, this part, over change in x. Do you want this recording a video? So, that's about all there is for lines. One last thing at the very end to add here is vertical lines. As I said before, have undefined slope. What's the equation for a vertical line? Well, if this is 1, and this is 2, and this is 3, x equals 3. Right? It's just the x coordinate, there's no y. What about horizontal lines? What kind of equations do we have there? Well, here's my x-axis, my y-axis. If I have a horizontal line like this, what's going on? Well, they've all got the same y-coordinate. This is y equals 3. So equations for horizontal lines and vertical lines are very simple. A horizontal line is y equals some number. A vertical line is x equals some number. You can't solve these really for point slope form because they really don't have much of a slope. And so that's everything from chapter 1 except for the word problem.